Eli Carter was not the kind of person who expected life to throw curveballs. At 28, he lived a quiet, predictable existence in a small coastal town on Earth. His days were spent tinkering with telescopes and analyzing data at the Global Space Research Center, where he worked as an astrophysicist. Eli loved his job. It gave him purpose. But deep down, he often wondered if there was more to life than staring at distant stars through screens. One evening, while testing a new communication array designed to send signals into deep space, something unusual happened. The machine hummed louder than usual, its lights flickering erratically before spitting out a series of strange symbols on the monitor. Eli leaned closer, his brow furrowed. It wasn't random noise. It seemed deliberate, like a message. But from whom? For hours, Eli pored over the data, running algorithms and cross-referencing alien languages stored in Earth's databases. Slowly, patterns began to emerge. He deciphered fragments of what appeared to be a plea for help, a cry for assistance from a faraway civilization. As he pieced together the translation, one phrase stood out. "I call upon you to unite us." Eli felt a thrill run through him. This was groundbreaking. Humanity had never made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials before. Without hesitation, he typed a response using basic universal symbols, meant to convey peace and cooperation. He included his name, hoping it would personalize the exchange. Then, pressing send, he sat back, breathless with anticipation. Weeks passed without a reply. Life returned to normal, or so Eli thought. One morning, as he sipped coffee in the research center's cafeteria, alarms blared across the facility. Everyone rushed outside, squinting at the sky. Hovering above the ocean was a massive spacecraft shaped like a glowing seashell. Its surface shimmered with bioluminescent hues, casting rippling reflections onto the water below. Panic spread among the crowd as a smaller vessel detached from the main ship and descended toward them. When it landed, a group of tall, elegant beings stepped out. Their skin glowed faintly, resembling moonlight dancing on waves. They wore flowing garments that seemed woven from liquid light. At their center stood a striking figure, Zalora, the queen of the Lumiveri species. Her presence commanded attention, her voice resonating like a soft melody when she spoke. "We come seeking Eli Carter," she declared, scanning the crowd. All eyes turned to him. Eli froze, clutching his coffee mug tightly. What did they want with him? A translator device buzzed to life in Zalora's hand, translating her words into English. "You have accepted our bond," she said, her tone firm yet gentle. "By responding to our signal, you agreed to become my consort." Eli's jaw dropped. "Wait. What asterisk?" Before he could protest, government officials swarmed the scene, demanding answers. Chaos erupted as cameras flashed, and reporters shouted questions. Eli tried to explain that it must have been some sort of misunderstanding, but the Lumiveri delegation remained resolute. According to their customs, retracting such a commitment would bring shame to both parties and possibly jeopardize relations between their species and humanity. As the sun set over the horizon, Eli found himself boarding the alien craft, wide-eyed and bewildered. The world he knew shrank behind him, replaced by the vast unknown stretching ahead. Little did he know, this accidental union would change everything, for better or worse. The moment Eli stepped onto the Lumiveri mothership, he felt as though he had been transported to another dimension. The interior of the vessel was unlike anything he'd ever seen, a breathtaking fusion of nature and technology. Towering coral spires spiraled upward, glowing softly in shades of blue and green. Schools of tiny bioluminescent creatures darted through the air, or what seemed like air, leaving trails of shimmering light behind them. The walls pulsed faintly, as if alive, creating an illusion that they were underwater rather than drifting through space. Zalora led him deeper into the ship, her movements graceful and deliberate. She moved with the confidence of someone born to lead, yet there was a gentleness about her that put Eli slightly at ease. Still, his mind raced with questions. How could this have happened? Why hadn't anyone warned him about alien customs before sending signals into deep space? "This is your new home," Zalora said finally, turning to face him. Her voice carried a musical quality, soothing but firm. "You are now bound to me, and to my people by the laws of our kind." Eli swallowed hard, trying to process her words. "But I didn't mean to. I just thought you were asking for help. This whole thing is one big misunderstanding." Zalora tilted her head, studying him with those galaxy-like eyes. "Among the Lumivari, responding to a call for unity is sacred. It cannot be undone without dishonor." She paused, then added softly, "Do not fear. You will come to understand us in time." As days passed, Eli struggled to adjust to life aboard the ship. Everything was so different from Earth. The food tasted strange, the language was difficult to grasp, and even the way the Lumivari communicated felt foreign. They spoke not only with words, but also through subtle shifts in their glowing skin tones, which conveyed emotions humans couldn't easily interpret. More than once, Eli accidentally offended someone by misreading these cues, earning disapproving glances from the court. Despite the challenges, Eli couldn't deny the beauty of the Lumivari world. Through holographic projections, he explored their homeworld, a planet almost entirely covered in water, dotted with floating cities made of translucent materials that refracted sunlight into dazzling rainbows. He learned how the Lumivari harnessed energy from something called asterisk ether, currents asterisk, invisible streams flowing through spacetime itself. These currents powered everything from their ships to their homes, making their society incredibly advanced. One day, while wandering the corridors of the ship, Eli stumbled upon Kale, a sharp-tongued Lumivari advisor who served as one of Zalora's closest confidants. Kale regarded him skeptically at first, clearly unimpressed by humanity's role in all this. But after seeing Eli attempt, and fail, to communicate with a curious sea creature using hand gestures, Kale burst into laughter, a sound like tinkling glass. "You're hopeless," Kale teased, shaking his head. "But maybe not entirely useless. Stick with me, human, and I'll teach you how to survive here." Under Kale's reluctant guidance, Eli began learning more about Lumivari culture. He discovered their deep respect for honor and tradition, as well as their fierce loyalty to each other. Slowly, he started earning small victories, like correctly identifying a greeting gesture or managing to eat a meal without spilling it everywhere. Each success brought him closer to understanding this alien world. Yet, despite these moments of progress, Eli still felt out of place. He missed Earth, missed the simplicity of his old life. But every time doubt crept in, he found himself looking at Zalora. There was something about her quiet strength, her unwavering dedication to her people, that made him want to try harder. Maybe, just maybe, this accidental marriage wouldn't be the disaster he feared. The moment Eli stepped onto the Lumivari mothership, he felt as though he had been transported to another dimension. The interior of the vessel was unlike anything he'd ever seen, a breathtaking fusion of nature and technology. Towering coral spires spiraled upward, glowing softly in shades of blue and green. Schools of tiny bioluminescent creatures darted through the air, or what seemed like air, leaving trails of shimmering light behind them. The walls pulsed faintly, as if alive, creating an illusion that they were underwater rather than drifting through space. Zalora led him deeper into the ship, her movements graceful and deliberate. She moved with the confidence of someone born to lead, yet there was a gentleness about her that put Eli slightly at ease. Still, his mind raced with questions. How could this have happened? Why hadn't anyone warned him about alien customs before sending signals into deep space? "This is your new home," Zalora said finally, turning to face him. Her voice carried a musical quality, soothing but firm. "You are now bound to me, and to my people by the laws of our kind." Eli swallowed hard, trying to process her words. "But I didn't mean to. I just thought you were asking for help. This whole thing is one big misunderstanding." Zalora tilted her head, studying him with those galaxy-like eyes. Among the Lumivari, responding to a call for unity is sacred. It cannot be undone without dishonor. She paused, then added softly, "Do not fear. You will come to understand us in time." As days passed, Eli struggled to adjust to life aboard the ship. Everything was so different from Earth. The food tasted strange, the language was difficult to grasp, and even the way the Lumivari communicated felt foreign. They spoke not only with words, but also through subtle shifts in their glowing skin tones, which conveyed emotions humans couldn't easily interpret. More than once, Eli accidentally offended someone by misreading these cues, earning disapproving glances from the court. Despite the challenges, Eli couldn't deny the beauty of the Lumivari world. Through holographic projections, he explored their homeworld, a planet almost entirely covered in water, dotted with floating cities made of translucent materials that refracted sunlight into dazzling rainbows. He learned how the Lumivari harnessed energy from something called asterisk ether, currents asterisk, invisible streams flowing through spacetime itself. These currents powered everything from their ships to their homes, making their society incredibly advanced. One day, while wandering the corridors of the ship, Eli stumbled upon Kale, a sharp-tongued Lumivari advisor who served as one of Zalora's closest confidants. Kale regarded him skeptically at first, clearly unimpressed by humanity's role in all this. But after seeing Eli attempt, and fail, to communicate with a curious sea creature using hand gestures, Kale burst into laughter, a sound like tinkling glass. "You're hopeless," Kale teased, shaking his head. "But maybe not entirely useless. Stick with me, human, and I'll teach you how to survive here." Under Kale's reluctant guidance, Eli began learning more about Lumivari culture. He discovered their deep respect for honor and tradition, as well as their fierce loyalty to each other. Slowly, he started earning small victories, like correctly identifying a greeting gesture or managing to eat a meal without spilling it everywhere. Each success brought him closer to understanding this alien world. Yet, despite these moments of progress, Eli still felt out of place. He missed Earth, missed the simplicity of his old life. But every time doubt crept in, he found himself looking at Zalora. There was something about her quiet strength, her unwavering dedication to her people, that made him want to try harder. Maybe, just maybe, this accidental marriage wouldn't be the disaster he feared. Life among the Lumivari was far from easy, especially for someone like Eli. Despite his growing familiarity with their customs, many members of Zalora's court still viewed him with suspicion. Whispers followed him wherever he went, some accusing him of orchestrating the mix-up on purpose, others questioning whether a human could ever truly understand or respect their traditions. Even Kale, who had become something of a reluctant mentor, often reminded Eli that earning trust would take more than just learning how to eat without spilling. One morning, Zalora summoned Eli to the Grand Hall, a vast chamber illuminated by glowing crystals embedded in the walls. She stood at its center, her iridescent skin shimmering under the soft light. Beside her floated a holographic projection of an intricate underwater maze, complete with twisting tunnels and glowing checkpoints. "To prove your worth as my consort," she began, her tone formal but not unkind, "you must participate in the asterisk rite of Tides asterisk. It is a series of challenges designed to test loyalty, intelligence, and courage." Eli blinked, caught off guard. "Wait, you're putting me through some kind of trial?" "It is tradition," Zalora replied simply. "If you are to stand beside me, you must show my people that you are worthy." Before Eli could protest further, Kale stepped forward, arms crossed. "Don't worry, human. You won't be alone. I'll oversee your progress, but don't expect me to go easy on you." The first challenge took place in the underwater maze projected earlier. Eli was equipped with a breathing apparatus crafted by the Lumivari, a sleek device that allowed him to breathe beneath the simulated waves. As he descended into the cool, glowing waters, he felt a surge of panic. The maze was disorienting, its passages shifting unpredictably. To make matters worse, schools of tiny, darting creatures kept distracting him, their movements creating ripples that obscured his vision. "Focus," Kel's voice echoed in his earpiece. "Follow the currents. They'll guide you." Eli gritted his teeth and forced himself to concentrate. Slowly, he learned to read the subtle patterns in the water, using them to navigate the labyrinth. When he finally reached the final checkpoint, a glowing orb suspended in the heart of the maze, he let out a triumphant laugh. For the first time since arriving, he felt a flicker of pride. The second challenge tested his ability to communicate with alien life forms. Eli was brought before a massive, jellyfish-like creature hovering in a tank filled with swirling colors. Its tendrils pulsed rhythmically, and its body emitted low, melodic hums. The task was simple: decipher what it wanted. At first, Eli struggled. He tried mimicking its sounds, gesturing wildly, even singing snippets of songs he remembered from Earth. Nothing worked. Frustrated, he sat down and stared at the creature, trying to think differently. That's when he noticed the faint vibrations emanating from its tank. Using his knowledge of sound frequencies, he adjusted the pitch of his voice until it matched the creature's rhythm. Instantly, the jellyfish brightened, signaling approval. By the third challenge, a simulated battle against a rogue AI guarding ancient secrets, Eli found himself relying less on luck and more on strategy. Armed with a Lumivary weapon that fired bursts of energy, he faced off against holographic drones programmed to mimic real enemies. Though outnumbered, he used the environment to his advantage, luring the drones into traps and exploiting weaknesses in their programming. When the final drone exploded in a burst of light, applause erupted from the gathered crowd. Even Kale gave him a rare nod of approval. "You're not half bad for a human," the advisor admitted grudgingly. As Eli stood there, catching his breath, he realized something important. These trials weren't just about proving himself to the Lumivary. They were helping him grow. For the first time, he felt like he belonged, not fully, but enough to keep going. And somewhere in the back of his mind, he wondered if maybe, just maybe, this strange new world might start feeling like home. As Eli grew more comfortable among the Lumivary, he began to notice subtle changes in Zalora. Though she remained poised and regal in public, there were moments when her usual composure faltered, when her glowing skin dimmed slightly or her expressive eyes clouded with worry. One evening, after a long day of training, Eli finally decided to ask her about it. "Is something wrong?" he asked cautiously as they walked through a tranquil garden aboard the ship. Bioluminescent plants swayed gently around them, casting soft light on the path. Zalora hesitated before answering. "The aether currents," she said quietly, "are destabilizing." Eli frowned. He'd heard about these mysterious energy streams that powered the Lumivary civilization, but he didn't fully understand their significance. "What does that mean? Is it dangerous?" "It means our world is at risk," Zalora explained, her voice heavy with concern. "The currents sustain everything, the cities, the ecosystems, even life itself. If they collapse, my people will perish." She went on to explain that the disturbances seemed unnatural, almost deliberate. Someone, or something, was interfering with the delicate balance of the currents. What worried her most was that the interference appeared to originate from beyond their galaxy, possibly linked to humanity's recent experiments with wormhole technology. Eli felt a chill run down his spine. Could his own work back on Earth have contributed to this crisis? "I need your help," Zalora said, turning to face him. "Your knowledge of human science combined with ours might be the key to solving this." Eli nodded, determination replacing his initial shock. "Tell me what we need to do." Together, they devised a plan to investigate the source of the disruption. It would require traveling into uncharted regions of space where no Lumivary, or human, had ever ventured. The journey would be perilous, but Zalora insisted it was necessary. With her council's reluctant approval, preparations for the expedition began. Days later, Eli found himself standing aboard a sleek exploration vessel alongside Zalora, Kale, and a diverse crew of humans and Lumivary scientists. As the ship left the safety of the mothership behind, excitement mingled with unease among the group. They were heading into the unknown, guided only by faint traces of the aether currents leading toward the disturbance. Their first stop was a crystalline planet orbiting a dying star. Its surface sparkled like diamonds under the dim red glow, but the air crackled with strange energy. While the team set up equipment to analyze the environment, Eli wandered closer to the edge of a jagged cliff. Below, he spotted swirling patterns in the ground that resembled the aether currents Zalora had described. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and shards of crystal shot upward, narrowly missing him. "Stay alert," Kale shouted, rushing to pull Eli back. Back on the ship, the data collected revealed unsettling anomalies. Fluctuations in gravity, pockets of unstable energy, and traces of an unidentified force altering the natural flow of the currents. Each discovery deepened the mystery and heightened the stakes. During one particularly tense moment, Zalora pulled Eli aside. "This isn't just about saving my people anymore," she confessed. "If the currents fail, the ripple effects could spread across galaxies, including yours." Her words weighed heavily on Eli. For so long, he'd thought of space exploration as a way to expand human knowledge. Now he realized how interconnected all life truly was, and how fragile that connection could be. Determined to make things right, he vowed to see the mission through, no matter the cost. As the ship continued its journey deeper into the void, Eli couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Shadows flitted past the windows, too quick to identify. Strange whispers echoed in the corridors late at night, though no one admitted to hearing them. Something, or someone, was out there, waiting. And Eli knew they were running out of time. The deeper the expedition ventured into uncharted space, the more surreal the surroundings became. The ship passed through regions where stars seemed to dissolve into swirling pools of liquid light, and nebulae pulsed with colors that defied human perception. Yet, amidst the breathtaking beauty lay an undercurrent of unease. Shadows danced at the edges of their vision, and the hum of the ship's engines occasionally faltered as if resisting some unseen force. Eli found himself spending long hours in the observation deck, staring out at the endless expanse. He often shared these moments with Zalora, who joined him silently, her glowing skin casting faint reflections on the glass. They rarely spoke during these times, but the quiet companionship was comforting. It reminded Eli that despite their differences and the chaos surrounding them, they were united by a shared purpose. One day, as the crew analyzed data from a nearby star system, disaster struck. A sudden gravitational wave rippled through the area, destabilizing the ship's trajectory. Alarms blared as the vessel was pulled toward a collapsing star, a black hole slowly devouring everything around it. Panic erupted among the crew, but Zalora remained calm, issuing orders with precision. "Activate the emergency thrusters," she commanded. "Kale, stabilize the core." Eli watched helplessly as Kale and the engineers scrambled to regain control. The ship shuddered violently, throwing everyone off balance. Just when it seemed they would be sucked into the void, Eli noticed something odd. The distortion in spacetime wasn't uniform. There were gaps, tiny windows of stability, that might allow them to escape. "We can use those gaps," Eli shouted over the noise, pointing at his console. "If we time our maneuvers just right, we can slip through." Zalora turned to him, her eyes wide with surprise. "Are you certain?" "It's risky," Eli admitted, "but it's our only chance." With no time to waste, Zalora gave the order. Under Eli's guidance, the pilot navigated the ship through the treacherous field, narrowly avoiding destruction at every turn. The tension aboard the vessel was palpable, but when they finally emerged on the other side, cheers erupted. For the first time, the crew looked at Eli not as an outsider, but as someone who had saved them all. As they regrouped, the team discovered evidence of what, or who, was behind the aether disturbances. Hidden within the debris of the collapsed star system was a damaged drone emitting signals identical to those disrupting the currents. Upon closer inspection, They realized it bore markings neither human nor Lumiveri. It belonged to an unknown third party. "This changes everything," Zalora murmured, examining the drone. "Someone has been manipulating the Aether for their own gain." Eli felt a chill run down his spine. "Do you think they're watching us now?" Before anyone could answer, the ship's sensors detected movement nearby. A fleet of shadowy vessels materialized out of nowhere, surrounding them. Their designs were unlike anything the crew had ever seen, angular, jagged, and menacing. Communication attempts went unanswered, leaving the team on edge. "They've been following us," Kale growled, gripping the hilt of his weapon. "This is no coincidence." Zalora stepped forward, her voice steady despite the danger. "Prepare for the worst. We may have to fight our way out." But as the enemy ships closed in, one of them transmitted a message, a single phrase repeated over and over. "Asterisk, you will pay for your interference." Asterisk. Eli's heart sank. Whoever these beings were, they weren't here to negotiate. And worse, they knew exactly who he and Zalora were. In that moment, Eli realized the truth. This mission wasn't just about saving the Lumiveri or understanding the Aether. It was about uncovering a secret far greater than any of them had imagined. A secret that threatened not only their lives, but the fate of countless civilizations across the galaxy. And now, there was no turning back. The shadowy fleet loomed closer, their jagged ships exuding an aura of menace. The Lumiveri crew scrambled to prepare for battle, but Eli couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was at play. These strangers hadn't attacked immediately. They were waiting, watching, almost as if they wanted to toy with them first. "Why are they here?" Eli asked Zalora in a low voice, his eyes darting between her and the ominous armada outside. "What do they want?" Before Zalora could answer, the enemy flagship transmitted another message, this time accompanied by a holographic projection. The figure that appeared was humanoid but distorted, its features obscured by shifting patterns of darkness. Its voice was cold, mechanical, and devoid of emotion. "You have trespassed into forbidden territory," it declared. "Turn back, or face annihilation." Kale clenched his fists. "We didn't come here looking for trouble. We're trying to stop the destruction of the Aether currents." The figure tilted its head slightly, as if amused. "The currents are ours to control. Your interference will not be tolerated." Zalora stepped forward, her regal presence commanding even in the face of such overwhelming odds. "Who are you? Why disrupt the natural balance of the universe?" For a moment, silence hung heavy in the air. Then the figure spoke again, its tone dripping with disdain. "We are the Vorthak, guardians of the void. And you," it pointed directly at Zalora, then Eli, "are pawns in a game you cannot comprehend." Before anyone could respond, chaos erupted. One of the smaller ships fired a warning shot, narrowly missing the Lumiveri vessel. The crew sprang into action, activating defensive systems and preparing countermeasures. But just as the battle seemed inevitable, a traitorous voice rang out from within their own ranks. "It's over, Zalora," said Valeth, stepping forward from the shadows. He was Zalora's cousin, a trusted member of her council. And now he stood beside the enemy, his glowing skin dimmed with guilt and ambition. "You've led us down a path of ruin. The humans are the problem, not the solution." Gasps rippled through the crew. Eli stared at Valeth, stunned. "You're working with them." Valeth smirked cruelly. "The Vorthak offered us power beyond imagination. All we had to do was hand you over, the human who started this mess." Without warning, Valeth activated a device on his wrist, disabling the ship's engines and locking everyone inside temporary containment fields. Eli struggled against the invisible barrier holding him in place, his mind racing. This betrayal cut deeper than any external threat. It came from within their own family. As Valeth approached Zalora, she glared at him, her voice steady despite the danger. "You shame our people with your greed. Power gained through destruction is no power at all." Valeth sneered. "Spare me your ideals. Once the Vorthak eliminate the humans, they'll reward us with dominion over the currents. You'll see. I'm saving our kingdom." But Eli wasn't about to let that happen. Using quick thinking, he triggered an emergency override hidden in his console, a fail-safe Cal had shown him earlier. With a surge of energy, the containment fields dropped, freeing the crew. In the ensuing confusion, Eli tackled Vailith, knocking the device from his hand. The distraction gave Zalora and her loyalists enough time to retaliate. They reactivated the ship's defenses, forcing the Vorthak fleet to retreat, for now. As the dust settled, Vailith was taken into custody, his betrayal laid bare for all to see. Later, in private, Eli confronted Zalora. "How could someone so close to you betray us like that?" Zalora sighed, her usual composure fractured by sadness. "Not everyone believes in unity, Eli. Some fear change more than they desire peace." But there was little time to dwell on the betrayal. During the skirmish, Eli had accessed data from the enemy drone they'd recovered earlier. What he found shocked him. Evidence linking the Vorthak's actions to ancient experiments conducted by humanity centuries ago. Humanity's ancestors had tampered with the aether currents, creating ripples that still echoed across galaxies. Eli realized the weight of his role in this mission wasn't just about fixing mistakes. It was about healing wounds left behind by both species. Together, he and Zalora vowed to uncover the full truth, no matter where it led. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the Vorthak watched, biding their time.